So this is Battlefield 6, and I thought I'd give my thoughts on it and a bit of a review because I've played Battlefield for a long time. I'd say that I was a Battlefield veteran. Alright, I think I've played every single variation of Battlefield there is to play in terms of like what you can play on console and PC. I've played them all, and yeah, I thought I'd give my thoughts as a kind of casual player, not these. You know, you see a lot of people coming over from Warzone and stuff like that, which is fine, you know, as many people in the game as possible is great, but, you know, a lot of them are asking for things like a ranked mode and stuff like that, and in my opinion, that's not what Battlefield's about. Battlefield's about jumping in and just having a good time on whether it be Conquest or Breakthrough or anything like that, and just getting kind of involved in just action and not having to sweat your ass off. So first of all, I'm just going to answer the question on if you should buy this game / pre-order it, and in my opinion it's an easy yeah. Easy yeah. If you like Battlefield and have liked previous Battlefields before, you will love this Battlefield. In my opinion, this is the best Battlefield since probably Battlefield 1, and I say that because Battlefield 1 was the last Battlefield that, in my opinion, had the best kind of immersion. You got so immersed into the game. I felt like I was there, like I was in World War One fighting. It looked visually stunning. It was epic. Battlefield 1. It doesn't get the credit it deserves. That's what I think anyway. I think a lot of people talk about Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, which brilliant games. I played them to death, loved them. But Battlefield 1 was just so good at being like immersing in there. And I feel like this has got that same kind of feeling about it. Like I really like, you know, I feel like I'm in the game kind of thing. Like it has definitely got that Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 vibe. You know, I suppose that's just because of the setting kind of thing. But yeah, it feels so good. Like when you're in a tank and stuff, you feel like you're actually in the tank almost. Honestly, they've done such a good job on it, in my opinion. But there is some negatives, but I think the positives outweigh it. First of all, I kind of want to talk about the classes and the class system, because obviously in 2042 they went away from the traditional class systems and brought in almost like a hero style ability kind of thing, which was horrible. I remember playing the beta and I hated it. I could not stand the fact that that's what they'd done. It wasn't Battlefield to me, and I ended up cancelling my pre-order of the game because I just didn't enjoy it at all. Like I have played it since, because I think it's on the Game Pass now, when you can get EA Play kind of included with it, and it is better, but it's just not a Battlefield game in my opinion. I'd rather play Battlefield 5 over 2042, but we've gone back to that now. We've gone back to the traditional system. They've even simplified it even more now with only 4 classes. In my opinion, that's not enough. I would personally like to see some of the classes split out, but we'll kind of talk about that as we go through. Okay, so first up we have the Assault class, which is your kind of standard soldier class, right? I think a lot of people are playing this class just because it's the easiest one to play. There's not much that you have to do. Straight off the bat, I hate the sling. I really don't like that. I don't like that you have like a secondary primary weapon available. I'm not a massive fan of that mechanic. I think it doesn't help that the shotgun is just so powerful at the minute. I know they're going to nerf it on release, but it is so powerful. And the fact that you can have a long range gun and a short range gun instead of having to switch to your pistol. Well, you have a pistol as well, in fact. So yeah, it just feels a bit overpowered to me. I would like to see the shotgun just become a normal weapon that you have to select as a primary weapon and not in your back pocket. So if you are playing a close range map, fair enough, and that would stop, because you know, if you nerf a shotgun, you want it to be good at close range, so you're risking that kind of issue where if you nerf them too hard, no one's going to use them. So yeah, I think getting rid of the sling. I know the spawn beacon is coming over from the recon class, which I think is a good move. I don't think the recon class should have it. I think the amount of times that someone will put it down on top of a mountain and just keep spawning up there 24/7, that gets rid of that a little bit. So yeah, I enjoy that they're moving that over. I know currently the beta is not moved over yet, but I know they've definitely said that they're moving it. In my opinion, I'd get rid of the sling, right, and I'd separate the ammo bag and medic bag that you get in the support class, and I'd split it back to the traditional system of having a medic and a support is in ammo, and give the assault class the medic pack, and maybe the defibs as well, I guess, and just making them a full medic, or just bringing a medic in total. And then I don't know, I think as a short-term thing, moving over the bag would be a lot more beneficial. So having a medic bag on the assault bag, I'd personally like to see that. The fire grenade launcher, oh my god, it burns me in my nightmares. That thing definitely needs some form of nerf, because the amount of times I'm getting set on fire and you can't put it out. If you can, I have no idea how you do it. You just seem to, as soon as you get a little bit of fire on you, boom, you're dead. Yeah, I'd like to see it nerfed just a little bit. It seems to just absolutely fry you. And also, I think the ult I like to call it a null. I think it's like the 6th ability, right? I think that within the assault class is a bit rubbish as well. I think it boosts hearing sounds and makes you a little bit quicker for a bit with like a stim. I think that's a bit rubbish. I think that could be changed a little bit. Again, you're changing with that. You're bringing in abilities. You're pushing towards 2042 again. So yeah, maybe you'd have to leave it. I expect other versions to come in that you can choose from, and you can kind of select your own perks. But let's hope it doesn't get too 2042-ish. So moving on to the engineer class, I think that's in a good spot. I think they've done everything right with that class. It's such a classic standard engineer. I do like that they've added that you can take both the RPG and Stinger. It means you don't have to choose one or the other, so you can deal with both an annoying helicopter and an annoying tank. So that makes it really, really good. I think the ult's pretty decent as well, that you've got the 6th ability, where you've got the overcharge on healing. That's really good. I mean, I've got a clipboard in my tank, and I've got, I think, 2 or 3 engineers healing me whilst I'm just getting absolutely battered by RPGs. And I just don't blow up because it's just so good. Granted, there's the challenge on at the minute of repairing vehicles, so I've got a feeling when the game comes out and this challenge isn't around, you won't see as many engineers keeping you alive in tanks. But for now, it feels really, really cool to have that. And yeah, overall, it's just not an exciting class, personally, the engineer. But it's in a good spot. I think they've done a good job with it. Then moving on to support, and in my opinion, it's the most overpowered class currently. Like I said, it's got the whole medic abilities plus deployable cover, and yeah, it feels like it's got a lot in that class. I think if you watch many good players play this game at the minute who are streaming it, they're all kind of running this class with an assault rifle and just sprinting around killing people, because then you've got basically unlimited ammo. You've got heals there as well. You've got a defib to get your friendlies back in the fight, and you've even got that, like I said, that deployable cover, which is really, really good. I kind of like that, that it's made it a lot more useful. I know it was in one of the other Battlefield games, but it's a lot more useful on this one. I think in terms of the class weapon, LMGs are actually pretty good. Like, I don't see many people using them. I'm using the one which is, it looks a bit like I think it's a Stoner from Warzone. It looks a little bit like that, and that's pretty solid. I would say a few bullets seem to have some hit registration issues, but other than that, it's pretty damn good. The other LMG, the one that looks a bit like a sword, that's not that good in my opinion. It's not as good as this one, but there's still usable weapons, and maybe you could buff the damage just a little bit on them, but ultimately I think they're in a good spot. And also the last thing I'd change about this class is the defib. There seems to be no like kind of charge up or cooldown in between like shocks. You can just spam it as much as you want, so if you miss someone you can just keep spamming and just get as many people up as you can, which I just think that's just a little bit overpowered. Maybe there needs to be a little, I'm sure on Battlefield 3 you had to charge them a little bit and then shock them, where it doesn't seem to be that. You can just spam it immediately. So yeah, I'd change that a little bit and add a little bit of a charge up to the defibs. And then finally recon. I mean, it is literally the most standard recon Battlefield class you could get. I mean, it's basically the exact same abilities that you get with a sniper class, and to be fair, I enjoy that. I don't think they ever needed to add anything or change anything with a recon. They're in a really, really good spot. The fact they're taking away the spawn beacon, I think, is even better. I think that nerfs it in a good way. What they bring in instead, I'd like to see maybe one of them, I can't remember what it used to be called, but like a Suave or something, like a mini UAV you could throw into the air. Bring that back, or maybe the spotters. I'm happy with that, but ultimately in a good spot. And then just to touch on the game as a whole, so I think we'll go for the positives first, right? I think positive-wise, I mentioned it before, but super immersive, best since Battlefield 1 in my opinion. Really, really good, done a great job with that. Visually, it looks stunning. There's an incredible attachment system as well, which I'm going to put on screen now. Yeah, it's so good how you can customize the weapons. I like how they've got that kind of 10 bar thing, and each thing's worth so many points to fill up that bar. That is really, really good in my opinion. I think they've done a class job with that, and the customization as well. There's a lot on there, and I imagine there'll be more that they'll add to different weapons and stuff. So yeah, that is all really, really good stuff. Again, I love how it's back to a more simple class system as well, but again, I would enjoy it if they would split it up a little bit more, but that's not a major negative point. I'm happy how it is. If they keep it like this, then fair enough, I'll adjust and it'll be fine. If they do choose to split it up, again, I kind of back that as well. So just to run through a couple of the negatives now. We'll talk about the biggie first, which is the weapon class lock system, right, where you can use any weapon on any class. And I know there is a playlist where it has got the lock on. And I feel like they're going to keep that playlist, but probably just have it as just a little one-off thing. I think all the other game modes are just going to have this where you can choose whatever weapon you want. And I'm 50-50 with this. Like, I enjoy the fact that you can move around weapons and stuff, but it just feels a bit overpowered with some of the classes. I mentioned it with support. If you put an assault rifle on, which in my opinion, assault rifles are the most powerful weapons in this game at the minute. If you put that on a support, you've got the ultimate class there, right? You've got unlimited ammo, unlimited meds, you've got the defib, you've got an assault rifle, which is the best weapon on the game. You've got everything all in one class. If you limited it so that you only had LMGs, then I think a lot of people would turn away because, you know, I know they've got that debuff of you can run quicker with LMGs. If they got rid of that and you just had the LMG with a support class and they were slower, I don't think half as many people would play that class as they do at the minute, and they'd all be kind of on assault. You know, I would like to see it a little bit more like Battlefield 4 and 3, where you had the class weapons, but then you had things like carbines that you could interchange between the classes, or shotguns or something you could just randomly put on whatever class you wanted to. That was the traditional way of doing it. I prefer it a little bit more, but if they do go down this route where you can switch weapons, you know, I don't think it would ruin the game, but it just wouldn't be as, I suppose, traditional as what you normally experience with a Battlefield game. I also think the few maps we've managed to play in this beta aren't the best. You know, they're okay. Them kind of deserty maps, they're not too bad. But yeah, they all seem fairly close quarters as well. There's only really the one big map, and in my opinion, the big map as well is not great either. It's very, very average. So I know they're going to bring back some of the traditional classic maps, which is great because all their maps are super, super good. But I'd like them to have at least one decent original map. I suppose we'll see when it all comes out. Yeah, they're just a little bit kind of bland in my opinion. Speaking of the maps, I know the destruction is absolutely incredible. It's the best since like Bad Company, right? But there's no Levolution. And that was like the big thing in Battlefield 4, and I actually really enjoyed the Levolution of how it completely changed the map. I mean, you know, even if you had it halfway through that the Levolution happened, that'd be cool. But, you know, I suppose we're just going to have to settle on the fact that it's fully pretty much destructible, which, you know, again, I say is absolutely amazing. It's just, yeah, a shame we can't have them Levolution moments like we used to get in Battlefield 4. I also think I've been playing a lot of Rush Scenes. That's the new game mode that they brought out in this second week of the beta. And, yeah, I remember Rush in Bad Company when it was so good, and I'm fairly certain they were almost like dedicated maps for that, or at least they dedicated a lot of, like, moved a lot of the map around so that it was so much better. Whereas this, they just seem to have just gone, well, this is the map we made, we'll just stick the points here, and they've not really thought about it as much in my opinion. It just, yeah, it's just a little bit rubbish, Rush. I think they need to change it because it used to be such a good game mode, but it's almost like they've pushed that to side now and gone, right, we don't really care about Rush, it's either Conquest or Breakthrough. In fairness, I like both of those game modes, but yeah, Rush used to be something special, and I feel like they've killed it a little bit. And then finally, I know it's the beta, but I have come across quite a few bugs. I think there's a little bit of a hit registration issue. There's a few times I've been putting a full clip into someone, and it feels like half of the bullets aren't registering, but that's only here and there. Like, you know, that's Battlefield 4 had like a network issue, I'm sure it did, where it just weren't registering things half of the time, and you used to trade loads on that game. So yeah, that's a classic Battlefield thing that I can get used to. But one of the bugs I did have, which I'm going to put on screen, is this one where I spawned in and I was completely invisible on my screen. People could still see me. I tested that because I went out into the middle of the open, people were still shooting me, so I imagine they saw me, but my weapon was invisible. The sniper, luckily, I have that blue dot on it, the blue laser, so I had to use the blue laser as my sight to kill people, and in fairness, I did pretty well with it, considering I was invisible, but that just shouldn't be a thing. Hopefully that gets fixed when the game comes out, but, you know, minor issues, these little bugs, they can be patched at least. Yeah, look, I've rambled on long enough. Overall, it's a fantastic game, unbelievably good. It's just a breath of fresh air, when all the games that have come out recently have been absolutely like dire, shocking, boring. This just breathes a bit of fresh like life into the gaming like industry, right? It's finally a good game and an exciting game to play. I just hope people stick with it, and because we know they're going to patch it, they're going to sort it, you know, things out, they'll bring out maps and stuff, they always do, Battlefield, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. And when it comes out, I'm going to absolutely cane this game like everyone else should, because it is really, really good. If you haven't played the beta, I don't know why you haven't, or why you wouldn't, Honestly, just download it whilst it's still available. Get in there, and yeah, it is so good. Anyways, when this game does come out, I plan on making a ton of Battlefield videos, so look out for them, and I'll catch you in the next one.